deep within the fog-soaked ridges of the Appalachian Mountains, where the trees grow so dense they feel like walls and the silence feels personal, there's a legend whispered more than told. They call it the crawler. No one knows its real name, and most won't say even that much unless the sun is high and the doors are bolted. It's described as something too tall to be human, yet it moves like a man who forgot how to stand. It walks on all fours, not like an animal, but like something pretending to be one. Its limbs are long, wrong, and its skin stretched too tightly across its bones, as if something is pressing out from beneath, trying to escape. Where a face should be, there's only skin, flat, featureless, with faint impressions twitching beneath the surface, like trapped expressions trying to scream. In the villages tucked between the trees, where houses lean into the forest like they're hiding, folks have long stopped going outside after dark. Not because of what they might see, but because of what they might hear. First come the footsteps. Light at first, like someone pacing on the roof, bare feet shifting weight back and forth. Then the scratching starts. Slow, deliberate, like claws or fingernails tracing the edge of the wall just beside your head. The sound doesn't move, it lingers. Some say if you press your ear to the wood, you can hear breathing. Shallow, slow, like someone waiting. But the most chilling part isn't what you hear, it's what you feel. That sensation of being watched, not from the window, but from inside the walls themselves. According to the oldest stories, the crawler doesn't just appear. It chooses. It marks you the moment you hear its name whispered on the wind. After that, time bends in strange ways. You'll forget what day it is. Clocks tick slower, shadows stretch longer. And even in the brightest rooms, your reflection will seem a second late, like something is watching you through yourself. The feeling of eyes crawling across your back becomes constant. Dogs won't bark. Cats won't come near. Even the trees outside your home lean differently, like they're pointing at your door. But there's one rule, one warning that every survivor, every trembling voice that dares to speak of it, repeats without fail. If you ever hear the sound of bones shifting outside your window, don't look, not through the blinds, not in the reflection, not even in your mind, because the crawler isn't trying to break in, it's waiting for you to invite it. In the humid, whispering swamps of southern Louisiana, where the air hangs heavy like a warning and the cypress trees drip with secrets, there is a legend no one tells after dark. They call him the man with the wide smile. No one knows where he came from. Some say he was once a man, others claim he never was. But everyone agrees on one thing. You'll see the smile first. He walks the narrow paths between the water and the moss, dressed in a faded suit from another century, with a wide-brimmed hat that casts his eyes in shadow. You'll never see them, just that grin. Unnaturally wide, stretching ear to ear, filled with too many teeth, tiny, sharp, uniform as a row of pins. It's the kind of smile that makes your skin go cold, even before you realize he hasn't blinked or breathed. He doesn't speak. He doesn't chase. He simply stands still, half in shadow, and raises one hand to wave. Slow, calm, like he's acknowledging an old friend, or waiting for something to begin. Those who see him never forget. Animals go quiet. The frogs, the insects, even the birds fall silent. The air itself seems to stop. And when you try to tell someone later, the memory feels blurry, like a dream that stained your waking mind. But some details always stay sharp. The shape of his smile, the way it cuts through the dark, and the sense that he's still watching, just beyond the trees. The real danger comes if you wave back. It seems harmless in the moment, polite even. But that's when he starts to follow, not with footsteps, but through your reflection. First, he shows up in mirrors, quick flashes behind your shoulder, then puddles, then windows. You'll see him in the shine of your phone screen, in the darkened eyes of a friend, always smiling, never blinking, and worst of all, never moving, until your own reflection begins to betray you. Around the seventh day, your mirror self starts to smile, even when your lips don't move. It holds that grin longer than you do, wider, as if it's practicing, preparing. By then, it's already too late. People vanish without a trace. No signs of struggle, no sounds, just an open door or an untouched bed. Sometimes the only clue is a cracked mirror and a faint handprint pressed from the inside. Locals say he doesn't take you, he replaces you. So if one day your reflection feels delayed, if your smile starts to stretch without you meaning it, Don't wave. Don't smile back. Just turn away. Fast. And whatever you do, never ask who's really behind that grin, because it might answer without making a sound. Across the open plains of Nebraska, where the horizon stretches like an old scar and the wind howls with a voice older than the towns it passes, there's a legend that settles deep in the bones. They call it the Midnight Train. Not because anyone's seen it. No tracks remain in those parts, not for decades, but because after midnight, people start to hear it. A distant whistle that cuts through the silence like a blade. Soft at first, barely there. Then the faint rumble of steel on steel. Windows rattle, dirt vibrates, but there's nothing there. No rails, no lights, just the sound getting closer. And that's where it begins. People describe an urge that grows the moment they hear it. A pull, gentle, insistent, like a string being tugged deep in the chest. Some wake in the night and walk into the fields, through the cold. No flashlight, no destination, just following the sound. Neighbors find their doors left wide open, muddy footprints trailing into darkness. And sometimes they never find the person at all. Just a shoe, a jacket caught on a fence, or nothing. Absolute, chilling silence. But those who return, those are the ones that scare people the most. Because they're not right. Their voices change, not completely, just enough to make your skin crawl. Like something is wearing their voice the way you might wear an old coat. They speak in numbers, whispered times. Always those three. Always in that order. If you ask what they mean, they smile and say, schedule. And when they sleep, if they sleep, they hum. Not songs. Rhythms. Mechanical, rhythmic thumps, like wheels turning on tracks that don't exist anymore. Some stop speaking altogether, just stare into the distance, eyes glazed as if they see something approaching no one else can. It's not just one town. The reports come from all across the plains, old farming communities, forgotten railway stops, even truckers who swear they saw a crossing arm drop for a train that never passed. And the most terrifying part? The sound doesn't go away. Even in places with no one to hear it, security cameras pick up faint whistles in the wind, ground sensors detect vibration, and always after midnight. People who've heard it once claim they keep hearing it. Every night, closer, louder. Like the train is circling, drawing nearer with each pass. They say it's not a vehicle, it's a harbinger, a thing that remembers the tracks long buried under earth and time. And when it finally finds a place to stop, something steps off. So if you ever find yourself wide awake at 12:15 and the floor beneath your bed begins to tremble, don't follow it. Don't look outside. Don't even breathe. Just stay still. Because 16 is only the first stop. And the whistle always sounds again. In the quiet heartland of Iowa, where cornfields stretch for miles like green oceans frozen in mid-wave, there's a legend whispered only after dark, low, careful, as if speaking too loud might summon it. They call it the face in the cornfield. Not a person, not a ghost, just a face. A face that isn't attached to anything. It appears between the stalks without warning, pale, smooth, too still, huge, and always watching. No matter where you stand, it's always facing you. It doesn't blink, it doesn't breathe, it just is. But somehow, it changes. Slowly, subtly. 1 second, it looks almost bored. The next, it's smiling, but wrong. A smile too small for the space it occupies, or too sad, like it knows something you forgot long ago but shouldn't have. Old farmhands say it shows up where blood has touched the soil. Not necessarily from violence, sometimes just loss, or silence too heavy for the land to hold. A missing child, a vanished worker, even an accident never spoken of again. And when the face comes, the field changes. The air grows thick, still. Birds stop calling. Machinery refuses to start. The wind dies, like the whole world is holding its breath. And then there it is, between the rows, hovering, watching, daring you to look longer than you should. Some try to touch it, they always regret it. Those who step closer vanish, not with a scream, not with a sign of struggle, but as if they were gently erased. The lucky ones emerge days later, clothes torn, eyes hollow. They don't eat, they don't speak, they just walk. Some don't even recognize their own names. One man wandered into his own house, sat down at the kitchen table, and wept, not because he remembered, but because he couldn't. Others are never found. No footprints, no evidence, just fields that grow faster than they should, stalks thicker, leaves broader, like the land itself is feeding on something unseen. Sometimes, when the moon is low and the harvest is near, people passing by at night say they feel eyes on them, not from above, from below, as if the ground itself is listening, breathing, a low, shallow rhythm underfoot, and once in a while, they hear it again, that breath, not from the face, but from the dirt, as if something buried beneath the roots still waits, patient and hungry. So if you find yourself walking a cornfield under starlight and everything goes silent, stop, turn back. Because if the face is already looking at you, it's not the one that found you first. It's the one beneath it that'll never let you leave.